The opinions expressed in the Brothers-in-Law show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal professional legal advice.
Thanks for tuning in to Brothers-in-Law on Go Country 105. I'm Larry Mandel.
And I'm Rob Mandel.
And we've been trial attorneys here in Los Angeles for over 40 years.
On our show, we will discuss current events, talk about legal issues, and have some very entertaining guests stop by. So stay tuned every week for Brothers on Law right here on Go Country 105. All right, here we are, the Brothers on Law. I'm Rob Mandel.
And I'm Larry Mandel.
And we're so glad to be back here talking to everyone out there and at Go Country. You know, Larry, do you remember when we were kids and you'd get sick, you know, a cold or especially a chest cold, something like that? What would Mom do?
Okay, Vicks VapoRub.
Vicks VapoRub.
Yeah, that was a cure for almost anything.
This day.
Yeah, you put it under your nose, you put it on your chest.
The whole place would smell like Vicks VapoRub.
But, you know, at least you thought it worked.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Great Greek Wedding where he had the Windex squirting everywhere for any kind of ailment or problem.
Okay. I'm not sure I remember that.
Yeah.
Windex for any ailment or problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you didn't see the show, Rob.
I guess not. But you know what? Luckily, we don't need Vicks VapoRub. We don't need no Windex because we got a really special guest with us today. And
we need Dr. Matea.
Dr. Matea Polisoto is here in our studio. She's a licensed naturopathic doctor specializing in nutrition and holistic medicine. She's sought after by professional athletes, A-list celebrities, and executives in the entertainment industry for all kinds of innovative treatments. And welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here. I love you guys already. You're so fun.
Yeah, and we
we're
just
neighbors. I'm so glad. Well, we have so much to share.
Well, you know, what is, am I pronouncing
Naturopathic
that?
medicine?
Naturopathic medicine. What is that?
Naturopathic medicine, actually, I think of it as a way of life. I mean, when you're talking about how you grew up, there's kind of two kinds of parents. Like my mom was a nurse. She was like, you just get a pill. You call the MD, you get an antibiotic, there you go. It takes care of it.
That was my mom too.
Yes. And then there's those mothers that are like, okay, I'm going to rub your feet with this weird oil and I'm going to make you chicken soup and I'm going to give you a homeopathic remedy and some herb. I'm going to brew up some tea and go to the garden and, you know, all kinds of...
Make you a poultice?
Yes, poultice. There's onion poultice, a clay pack, this, that, you know, all forms of... So some people are just more oriented those kind of home remedies. Well, naturopathic medicine is a lot of home remedies, but it's all about nature. We call it nature cure. But it actually came to this country in the 1900s from Germany. And the methods of healing are with elements of nature, actually sunlight, water cures, hydrotherapy. Like right now, it's really popular to take ice baths and do cryotherapy, things like that.
Wait, ice bath?
Ice baths.
That sounds very cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
it's so
that's
popular
very
now.
astute, Rob, on your part.
It's very hip and popular now. You'll see all kinds of celebrities posting. Like if you look at Kevin Hart's blog, and he has Floyd Mayweather there, and they're sitting in an ice bathtub. There's a gentleman, the Wim Hof
But
method.
he's crazy anyway.
Wait a minute.
But he's a serious athlete, though. He trains very hard. If you watch
he's
his
in
blog.
good shape.
He's in
But
shape.
how long are you in the ice bath?
Well, the way I was trained, I like alternating. It's called hydrotherapy. It's incredible. It can cure back pain and all sorts of inflammation. But the way I do it is alternating. So you go in the hot first for 8 minutes, then you do 1 or 2 minutes in cold, and you alternate maybe 4 to 6 times. But
I don't think I can do 2 minutes.
Is there
in
some
an ice
screen
bath.
therapy involved with that too? When you go into the ice?
Well, the first time I did it, I had a gym that. Well, I was an athlete, a dancer, and an entertainer before I went to medical school. So what drove me crazy was sitting. We had to sit for 8 hours and then study for 4 hours at night. And I know you guys in law school, sitting. How many people maintained their athletic physique that you might have had
Especially
before
my brother. He lost it all the time.
Hey, no, I'm looking
Flex
nice and
it for
trim,
us.
aren't I, Doc? Look.
Hey,
Yes.
you got a nice trim waistline.
There you go.
You're an inspiration. We want to know.
I think Dr. Matea needs new glasses. But anyway, you know, I want to ask you your background a little bit,
Okay.
because you got your doctorate in naturopathic medicine from the
National
college.
University of Natural Medicine is
I
called,
see.
in Portland. So what people don't know is that there are 4 medical schools in the country where we're trained in both Western medicine. Like, we have the same core curriculum as an MD has, and the same 4 years of basic structure. But on top of that, we study the chiropractic, homeopathic, herbal medicine, nutrition, and hydrotherapy, and different. And then there's that's the basic. And then there's all sorts of extracurricular. Like, I heal with crystal singing bowls and crystals and ceremonies. I study with Native American healers. So
Sweet.
I've
so the
learned
whole gamut.
everything.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up with a famous doctor, so it's been 30 years for me working in this field. So.
When you say grew up, was it your dad?
My aunt's best friend, so she was like a third mother to me, and she at age 10 she was giving me books on consciousness, like on I was doing juicing and doing facials. My mom came home and I was cracking an egg on my sister's head because I read a book on longevity and beauty, that if you put the yolk on your hair and the whites on your face, you'll be beautiful. But my dad was a health nut. He was a real athlete. But she was a allergist. She was conventional double board certified. She tried to publish research. She was healing kids with ADD naturally. So parents who did not want to put their children on Ritalin and other psychotropic drugs. So she healed them with nutrition and homeopathy. And the medical establishment chastised her, wouldn't listen. So she said, forget them, I'll write a book for moms, for lay people. It was called Is This Your Child? And she described these kids who would go to school in the morning, behave, and then they were given lunch with Kool-Aid and Cheetos and
Sugar.
and their brains would be going, have you seen a kid go berserk? You know. And she got on Donahue, was the biggest show then, and then Oprah later, but she became extremely famous. And back then there was no internet, so I ran the office, and overnight there was like 30 bins of mail with mothers, desperate mothers from around the world, going, we want to come there, we want to help get healing, we want to learn what to do. And so it was amazing. I got to travel around the world and meet all the top doctors in holistic medicine around the country. So back then we used to have situations like, you'd have a wealthy family and they decide to remodel their home, and they'd go stay in a hotel, and when they'd come back after the house was beautifully remodeled, everyone would get sick.
Mold or what?
Like formaldehyde outgassing of different flooring materials, adhesive, carpet, and the conventional doctors would tell them that it's all in their head, that they would refer them to a psychiatrist. They wouldn't listen to them, and these doctors would say, well, okay, let's test. They would test for mold, test for pesticides. They would cleanse their liver, give them vitamins, because you need vitamins to cleanse toxins. If you're deficient in any vitamins, you're going to have a harder time processing chemicals. So let's say, like, if we had if they came and sprayed for bugs in your office, sure, and then we came in Monday morning, we all got maybe half of us would get sick and half wouldn't. Why? Well, maybe your diet's worse and your liver's more clogged, or your colon's clogged, or we understand the science. So detoxification is an art form, and we know how to cleanse people. But I also, like I said, I do both. I do write prescriptions for antibiotics. I treat high cholesterol, all the conventional stuff.
Are you a MD as well?
No, our title is ND, Naturopathic Doctor, but we have the same scope of practice as a primary care doctor.
But you have a background in biochemistry too, though.
You have to have a pre-med degree, an undergrad degree, to go. It's actual medical school. Most people are coming to us because they want an alternative. They're told, like, for example, you have high cholesterol, you don't want to go on Lipitor, you don't want to be a drug for the rest of your life. You're like, okay, I really want to change my lifestyle. So I work with people that want to change their lifestyle. They want to do like a life makeover. And it's just fun because I treat really high-powered people, and they're like, okay, I know I'm a train wreck, I want to get healthy. So what do? We put them through a whole workover. Like,
so is what you do different than holistic medicine?
Yes, I would say. Well, what's challenging to identifying us as like a brand is that everyone's so different in how they practice. So what I witnessed is, my first job, I worked at a retreat center where you would go and cleanse. So it was much different than, like, let's say you just found a holistic doctor close by. That could be an MD or a naturopath. Like, MDs get into holistic, right? But they get 1 to 3 hours of nutrition training in school, which is virtually non-existent. So asking them if you should take a supplement is like going at me and asking me about a brain tumor. I had a 3-hour class on it, but you really wouldn't want my opinion on it because I'm not an expert. I had we have 2 years of book training, and then I had 3 years of clinical training, and then I've practiced for 11 years. And all I do is help people know, should I do keto? Should I do vegan? Should I do this? Am I deficient? What supplements are safe? Am I taking too many? Is this dose too much? But we also give vitamin injections and IV therapy.
Have you suffered or been injured by someone else's negligence? When you need a legal team that will stand up for what is right, won't give up the fight and obtain justice, call 818-886-6600. Mandel Trial Lawyers specializes in personal injury cases of all types. Whether it's a car accident, product or premises liability, dog bite, or a catastrophic injury, Mandel Trial Lawyers are there for you when the fight is worth it. Call now for your free consultation. 818-886-6600. Let the scales of justice tip in your favor.
So people can self-help.
Yeah,
And they look on the internet.
Yeah.
And everything. But there's a difference between self-help and seeing somebody like you.
Exactly.
And tell us why there's a difference.
Well, one of the differences is that you see both ends of the spectrum. Sometimes people underdose. People are scared of supplements. So, for example, for sleep, they'll say, "Oh, I tried everything natural, it didn't work." And I go, "Well, let's talk about that. What did you buy?" "Okay, melatonin." "Okay, well, you can go up to you should start with 1 milligram sublingual of melatonin, and then you increase it until you find that dose." And that's for people who have trouble falling asleep. If you lay down and you're really mental and you're thinking about your day, melatonin is the thing for you. But you have to start slow. So some people will say, "Oh, I got numbers, I can't use it." I'm like, "Well, maybe you got a 5 milligram capsule and you need 1. It really works well. So there's 3 functional tests that I can do in your urine, your saliva, to look at your body chemistry, so I can properly prescribe to you or recommend to you what to take. So people will say, "I've tried all these things. I have 7 things by my bed to sleep." I've had.
What 7 things do you have?
Okay, so
Because I want to try some of those.
Me too.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah,
I
because-
got to say, melatonin I've tried, and it has helped me sleep, but it's also given me a headache the next day. Have you heard
So-
that before?
Yes.
Wait, before you answer that, and I've tried it, and I've had bad nightmares.
Exactly, just like I told you. So
I've had nightmares about you. I don't know when.
That's because
so
I'm a troublemaker. Go ahead.
So there's a lot. I mean, I made a whole 1-hour sleep DVD that I sell on my website, but there's a lot to it. So if you're, also, like, I would talk to you about what are you doing right before you go to bed. So melatonin is, what happens is, you ever go camping?
Of course.
And okay, the sun goes down, you have the campfire, you're talking, and after an hour, you're like, what am I doing up? I want to go to bed.
Right.
When you're in nature, what happens is hormones are like a symphony. You release melatonin, and that's your shut down neurotransmitter. It's
Your
like
own melatonin.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Naturally.
Yes. So you're supposed to have it in your body, right? And if you are in artificial lighting, so if you have a big screen TV in your bedroom and you're on your phone and your iPad and you're doing emails right before you go to bed, that you don't release that. And so your brain doesn't know to shut down. But when you're in touch with nature, when you're in nature and you're in touch with nature, you're more in sync with the rhythms of nature.
So if we want to sleep, we should just go camping. I mean, that'd be the easy
You
thing.
just put a tent out in your backyard.
No, what some people do is
There
they
you
actually
go.
wear blue glasses. I mean, we can mitigate your body chemistry with a variety of nutrients, like of the 7 I will talk about. Like melatonin's just one of them. So I can work biochemically to get your brain to shut off, right? Like, look at depression. People give Prozac. Well, I test people and they have low serotonin, even in their on Prozac, and it doesn't work for them. Well, there's other neurotransmitters besides serotonin. There's GABA is another shutdown neurotransmitter. So that's another nutrient you can take at night, GABA. So the question
And where
is,
do you get GABA?
they have that in the health store too.
That's over the counter. I've tried that too.
Yeah. But like I said, so you guys, my question is,
For what, Larry?
what dose?
Sleep.
What
No,
dose
today.
were you taking of the melatonin?
Stronger.
But the you might have taken too strong.
Larry needs a lot of GABA.
Yeah.
Quit gabbing, Rob. Go ahead.
So I use the 7 things are melatonin, GABA. I use a product called De-Stress, which is a peptide from milk. So there was research looking at why is milk at bedtime a good, remedy, and they isolated a protein in it it's kind of like a natural Xanax. It's not as strong, obviously, but it's over the counter, and it doesn't ever cause any drowsiness. So I love that product.
What's it called?
De-Stress, and it's
Okay.
from a company called Biotics, and there's knockoffs, but
And what do you think of like CBD for that?
I like CBD.
purpose?
I was against it initially because I do not like intoxicants. I don't drink, smoke, do any kind of drugs. I don't ever like to be intoxicated. And So when it first started becoming popular, I was like, I'm not going to recommend that to my patients. It's kind of sketchy. I have really conservative clients. I have patients that do a background check on me and investigate me
that makes
before coming to
sense.
see me.
And CBD is what for the
CBD
audience?
is cannabinoids. It's from the hemp from pot. Basically, it's pot without the high.
Pot without the THC.
Yeah, pot without the THC. And the first time I tried it, I was blown away because I had worked an 18-hour day. Sometimes I don't sit down. Not always. I try to have balance, but I might have a day where I don't ever relax. I'm running and working because I'm working in the entertainment industry. So I'm backstage at the Grammys, at the Emmys, at the movie sets, TV sets. So I don't sit.
Your capacity as a doctor?
Yes.
Okay.
Working with entertainers.
Working with entertainers, right.
Okay.
So I went to lay down. And
Can you name names?
No.
Okay, go ahead. You worked. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Can you
tell
types of
us what they
problems
look
I
like?
fix.
Can you tell us what they look like?
A Grammy morning, they look like a corpse. If you saw them at night, they look nothing like they do in the morning. They'll show up
That's
still
good to
drunk
know.
or completely hungover. And I'm like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
It's good to know other people look like corpses in the morning.
in the morning.
Okay, I'm sorry, interrupted.
No,
Go
what I
ahead.
was saying, so I took the CBD oil. And, okay, so, if you've had a day where you haven't relaxed and you get those boulders in your shoulders,
Sure.
knots,
I got
and you
that
lay
right
down,
now.
Hunching over, talking to the mic.
But you lay down, you don't just immediately relax, right? It takes you lay there, and it could take me an hour just to unwind that feeling of unraveling. The people that just lay down and hit the mat are the healthiest people ever. They're so lucky. But anyway, I took the CBD oil, and I just felt like someone melt those knots in my shoulders. I was like, ooh, this is good.
And so you
Relax.
take it orally,
You
right?
take it. I take it orally. So
Like a
that's
little
one of my
drop.
7 by my bed in a dropper.
Okay.
Yes.
They have
But the
an
same
oil
thing.
too, though, don't they?
Yeah, they have oil, except when you want, I'm an expert in aromatherapy. It's my favorite thing to do. People give me a salve. What's called a salve, and it's in. They put it in wax and they rub it on. Well, that's the slowest way to absorb something. If you want to absorb a medicine topically, it should be in a gel. So it should really be in aloe vera gel or a gel. Like my friend has a roll-on gel, and that's going to be the fastest absorbed. But I use it a lot for athletes too. Well, we can't use it for professional athletes because they're not allowed to use it. But I treat a lot of non-professional as well.
So what is aromatherapy? Talk about that.
Aromatherapy is so potent, so amazing. I as a naturopath, we're also herbalists, but some people are not as emphasizing that in their practice or as skilled. I was trained by Native Americans and lay herbalists, so I feel like they're stronger. Like the PhDs who taught us, it was very cerebral. I learned hands-on how to use herbs, and I use them abundantly. And in fact, I feel like people ask me, how did you get to treat this celebrity and this kind of thing? You're flying around in private jets. And I'm like, well, herbs, a lot of holistic doctors. I would say if you went to a holistic doctor, 9 out of 10 are going to listen to you, and instead of give you Lipitor, they're going to give you 10 supplements. You're going to come with this bag and be like, ugh. And you don't remember to take them. You don't want to take them. Give me a stomach ache. That's not what I do. I custom make herbs and essential oils for you. Essential oils are just amazing because they involve your sense of smell. So they change your mood and your brain chemistry.
And they do that for sleeping too.
Yeah.
Like lavender, things like that.
Lavender bath. Yeah. I have, the first blend I made was a relaxation spray. And I used it I did a healing circle for kids, or a meditate. There were kids learning to meditate from
How
age
old?
3 to 16.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable.
Awesome.
They were very spiritual parents. It was really cool. The kids blew me away. So I sprayed them with this spray. And 2 weeks later, I ran into the oldest girl. She was going to college. And she said, I just want you to know, I've had nightmares every night of my life for the past 10 years. But ever since you sprayed me with that, I've not had any.
Isn't that amazing?
And I was I looked at the bottle
So your smell,
Sense of
when
smell.
you these scents that you inhale or you breathe in can change chemistries or change the way your brain is registering things?
Yes, I used them to study for the boards. So we have board exams just like MDs do. We're regulated under the osteopathic board. So after we used to study in different libraries. We studied with the MD students and with law students, and then I would always get asked to make custom study blends because a lot of people know rosemary is for memory. So there is this science of okay, if you have to memorize all these legal things for your boards, if you smell a smell that you're not used to, like a custom blend or something, and it kind of imprints with that material, and then during the exam, if you only smell that and then you only bring out that fragrance during your exam, you'll be have an easier recall. There's studies that show enhanced memory with scents.
So you people that are studying for the bar,
exactly.
So the people that are studying for the bar exam,
medical, anything,
they have to
smell some rosemary, boys and girls.
But that's just not it. It's just not rosemary, though.
No, because we flew out a teacher to do a review class for us because there's so much pressure. You're like, oh my God, I studied for 4 years. If I don't pass this, I can't practice. So we were like a nervous wreck. But after lunch, we started to get that afternoon slump around 3 that you get, and we were all like, and the teacher was like, okay, we'll wrap up early because you guys are falling asleep. We're like, no, we can do it. Let's take a break. And I just waved thyme and eucalyptus around the room, and it's just like, it wakes up your brain. So I have people put these by your desk. Anybody that has to do a lot of mental work, like accountants, lawyers. My sister's a lawyer. She has to do contracts, and it's just she would keep like frappuccinos by her desk.
And what are you recommending? You have some with you right now
do.
that the audience can't see.
So, but people, well, I have a lymphatic blend. I have used this to treat, like, if you feel a cold coming on, it's usually after you've eaten something like too much cheese, you had a party, ice cream, you rub it on your neck, and I've had people say they didn't get a cold. I've used this to heal tumors. Like, the most amazing story was I had a gentleman with a Hodgkin's lymphoma, and he had a tumor in his neck, and I worked at a clinic where the doctors were like, no problem, that'll be about 6 to 9 months of cleansing. If you can follow a strict diet, you can dissolve that. Like, the body can resorb a tumor. A tumor or a cyst or any lump in the body has 2 options. It can burst and release, which is kind of messy, or it can resorb into the body. But it will not resorb unless you purify your insides. So essential oils, when applied to the skin, absorb into your bloodstream, and they purify your blood and your lymphatic system.
Now, this is unusual and controversial stuff to some degree, right?
Yeah.
And are there conflicts, even legal conflicts, between what your group of people and the AMA and traditional doctors?
Absolutely.
And we'll talk about that for a sec.
Would also be the FDA too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we are censored, and this is why I've been underground. Like, my first job was working with a lot of cancer patients, and after about 6 of them got healed, I was doing a protocol called Simoncini protocol out of Italy. It was an oncologist who was giving people intravenous baking soda. Basically, it's a buffering agent we use to buffer other IVs, but it gives it a higher dose, and as the body becomes more alkaline, then tumors just shrink and dissolve. So I was dealing with patients who some of them chemotherapy failed, and when it fails, they just leave you for dead. The doctors are like, okay, we have nothing else for you, and then they find us. We have people that just don't believe in it. They're those types that grew up with the mom with the folk remedies, and they're like, I just don't believe in chemo radiation. I'd never do it. I personally would never do it. Because I've seen how barbaric the treatments are, worse than the disease sometimes. And then there's people who, there's people who it failed, people who don't believe in it, or people whose type of cancer it's just not recommended for. Like, we had a person, certain cancers are easy to heal.
So how are the conflicts resolved, though, if at all, or are they just ongoing?
No, it's ongoing. It's a war. We're in a war in medicine. And that's why after that, so many people were flying in from around the world to see me every 2 days that I never had a day off. I worked 7 days a week and I slept 2 hours a day because they couldn't find anyone to do this protocol. And the doctor in Italy, of course, was ostracized, and he left Italy, and I think he's now in Japan. But, I just graduated. But I read, when I was in school, we have a rare book room, and I was reading cases of doctors in the 1900s. Dr. Bastyr was one of them. He's a famous naturopath at school. And I was reading his cases, and you can watch his videos. And I'm flipping through his binder, and it said cure of pneumonia, cure of tuberculosis, cure of eczema, and cure of cancer, resorption of a breast tumor. And I said, resorption? Nobody even uses that word. I said, this is lost. This medicine is lost. We're practicing a watered-down version of what's possible for healing. So giving you 10 supplements for your high cholesterol is kind of an insult to the profession. So that's why my teachers were like, you want to get healthy? Here's a garbage can. Throw out your meds, and let's get into healing. So there's very few people that know how to cleanse the body. So I had a job like that, and I had done it fit for me because after reading Bestyr's case, I said, I want to learn that. Nobody has the guts to do that, and I want to do that because what if your wife came to me, or your daughter, and said, I just don't want that chemo. I watched my friend die of it. I watched my aunt die. This horrible death, lose all her hair, lose all her weight, get weak, and then it didn't work. And so what if it's your prerogative? You don't want to do that. So I did that kind of treatment, and I had so much stress, and so I quit. After, I lasted, I think, a couple of years, and we'd have situations where the husband would want the woman to do holistic and she didn't, or vice versa. And so we had a guy, he actually, it was too late for him. He had liver cancer, and he died, and his wife wanted to sue us to get the money back that he spent trying to heal himself, because she was greedy and wanted his money back.
Wow, we need another hour or two with Dr. Matea.
We could get into that. Yeah. Unfortunately, our show's only a half hour.
Oh,
Dr.
I thought it was an hour. I was going,
It's okay, but we want to
to
thank you for coming in. And this is so informative, unbelievable. And my wife likes this stuff, so she's going to be listening. So
how can people find you? Wait a minute, that was my line. Go ahead.
Please.
Tell us, Dr. Matea, how do people find you?
Well, I would say I have a website. It's drmatea.com, drmatea.com. And I'm most on Instagram. I love Instagram. You'll see me posting nutrition tips, diet tips, health tips, all kinds of stuff there. And I love Instagram.
Perfect.
And I'd love to stay in touch.
Wonderful. Thank you.
We're Larry and Rob Mandel, the brothers-in-law, here on Go Country 105. Do you have a legal issue you need help with? We want to hear from you.
Find us on Instagram and send us a message. Then tune in on Saturdays at 8 a.m. right here on Go Country 105.
Stay connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and of course, brothersonlaw.com. Here's the tip of the day,
Speaking of
Rob.
the tip of the day,
Let me tell you what it is. It's keep an emergency bag of first aid supplies, flashlight, food, water, change of clothes, blanket, and toilet paper in the car.
in your car, toilet paper?
I'd say, and also in your home for an emergency situation.
I think I keep toilet paper in my home, Larry.
There you go.
I don't know if you don't.
Well, you may never need it, but if you do, you'll be glad it's there. Remember to check ever so often to make sure you have food and supplies that don't expire. We're here in Southern California. We're earthquake country, and we have had devastating fires. Be prepared. Makes sense.
Makes sense. Hey, did you know there's a new law in California, and it protects employees who report sexual harassment allegations without malice from defamation of the people that they accuse, so they can't be sued for defamation. It also allows employers to indicate during reference checks whether an individual has been determined to have engaged in sexual harassment.
Okay.
So it's all about, curtailing that kind of bad conduct.
Yeah, we don't want that around here. Hey,
Not around here, we don't.
No.
Nowhere.
Not in our
No
country.
way.
Here's a message from the Mandel message box.
Now it's time to check the Mandel message box.
This is from our Instagram page from Carlos. I had a car accident a year ago. I got rear-ended, and the damage to my vehicle really wasn't significant, so I told the lady that hit me it was fine. We were going slow anyway. Since then, I've had neck issues, and I see a chiropractor. What is the statute of limitations to file a suit against her? I still have all the relevant information. What is it, Rob?
Well, he's got 2 years. Carlos, you got 2 years to bring your lawsuit against this other driver. I will say, however, that when there's minimal damage to a car, the adverse insurance company is going to give you a rough go, because they're invariably going to claim that there's not enough energy in the accident to biomechanically cause an injury, even to a neck in that setting, even a little whiplash.
To move the person. But
what do you think about that, Dr. Matea?
I've had some trifling people trying to work the system, and they better not come to me trying to get a doctor's note. That's all I gotta say.
All right, don't try and work the system.
That filters out some of the
listen.
people that aren't hurt. But one thing I want to tell you, though, is you should take the car to a body shop and have it checked out to see if there's more internal damage. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, so anyway, hey, Dr. Matea, we really want to thank you for coming in. We've had a lot of fun with you, and you are very knowledgeable, and like Larry was saying, we could talk to you all day. So I think it's about that time. However, we got to wrap it up. We want to thank you for tuning in, and so catch us next week right here on Go Country 105. And just remember, let the scales of justice tip in your favor.
The opinions expressed in the Brothers-in-Law show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal professional legal advice.